welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danique. Along with me, we have Mac Wade, who's the Executive Director with the Port of Morgan City. Now, very, very important information that we need to get out to the public. The date is April 14th, and starting early this morning, around 7 o'clock, Bayou Chene floodgate structure was closed.
Right.
And so what that means, obviously, for the folks who live in the additional 6 parishes, including St. Mary Parish, will be protected from backwater flooding because we're starting to see a lot of that Ohio River Valley water start to come into our area. So that's going to be protecting a lot of the homes. However, yes, homes will be protected, and we're loving that. That's a great thing, but it's also going to stop commerce and business along that waterway, correct?
That's right. That's exactly right. Danica, like you said, 7 o'clock this morning, the floodgate was closed. It's designed for backwater flooding, and so with the projections at 7.5 foot, you can't wait till the water's right at your door. You got to go ahead and start shutting it down, and probably by within 12 hours, the floodgate will be securely in place. They will draft the floodgate down. It'll be in place, and that's where we'll be for a while until it gets open again. But the water situation this morning, we're at 4 foot. You say, well, Mike, that's not 7 foot. No, but you know it's coming. We're at 4 foot this morning. 7 days from now, we'll be at 6 foot. 10 days from now, we'll be at 7 foot. 12 days from now, we will be at 7.5 foot. And this is not, a lot of times, so with the weather forecast, they miss it so bad. This is guaranteed. They don't miss this. This is what's in the system. This is all the rain, all the flooding you were talking about up above us, up in the Tennessee, Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley, the Missouri Valley. All those places have been hit in the last 10 days.
And all those they drain down into us.
All comes down the Mississippi.
Go right down to us.
And very important, they say, well, Mike, we're not on the Mississippi. No, but 30% of the Mississippi flows down the Atchafalaya every day.
Yes.
So their 30% is getting a lot higher. Ours is going to get a lot higher.
So let me ask you something. We remember 2011. Folks who remember 2011 closed. It was it was one of those things that when I look back on the history, the historical pictures back in 1920s, where they had to build the planks to walk across the street into a lot of the shops. Thankfully, we now have this flood wall that's been up. However, it's still historical because remember that water was on the wall. Like that was the river touching the wall. You could not walk in it. You would have to swim it. To me, that it was pretty high. So 7.5, what might likely be where about maybe right at the calf area, maybe if you walked along the wharf in Morgan City. I'm trying to give you guys a visual of what that would look like because 4 is right at the top, 4 feet.
The Morgan City dock, right down the street from us, right on the other side of the seawall. That dock is at 6 foot.
6 feet. Okay,
That's at 6 foot.
So you may be looking at a little bit above ankle.
That's right.
And cresting, what's the forecast?
7.5. So it'd be close, almost to your knee.
Yeah.
Now you got to remember those floodgates will be closed too. They'll
Yes.
start the city will start taking action. Not all the floodgates will have to be closed. Berwick's looking at it. Not all they will be closing floodgates, just like Morgan City. I don't know which ones. That's between the cities and the drainage districts and all that.
I know in Berwick they've actually already started closing.
Yeah. Okay. See.
And it's April 14th. Just get a timestamp because if you see this again, just know that when you see it again, it may have gone up.
That's
and
right.
You've already given us a forecast that when the next 12 days,
right,
we're looking at 7.5 feet.
7.5 feet.
Yes.
That is 7.5 feet. And like I say, that is in the system. Danica, the 7.5 feet doesn't sound real bad, but like I say, a lot of your businesses on the unprotected side, there'll be some businesses impacted from this. The locks everything will be locked through the system. But Bayou Chene, it is a floodgate. It's not a lock. So once they closed it, and I will say this, you mentioned 2011, that's when we went to about 10.5 foot. Remember, that's when they were scrambling, trying to get the barge put in and
Yes.
trying to get this piece of equipment or get rock or get sheet metal and all that. They now, like I say, Mike Mercado was out there this morning at 7 o'clock. He started the winches. They brought some tugs in to help close it. That was going to take about a 2-hour process, and now, right now, they're sinking the barge in place.
A lot faster than what we've been used to.
Oh, yes,
so
ma'am.
Money well spent.
Yes,
You would say?
yes, yes.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but we've got much more to cover. Definitely want to get to the dredge report because, again, how's that going to affect us? And just thinking about it. So come
Yes.
on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. We're just talking about this high water that's coming down, and man, oh man, it's a doozy.
Yes, it is.
Now, granted, it is not a 2011 doozy, but I can tell you, I just feel like we can never necessarily get too comfortable. We'll have a good run, where we are coasting. We've got the waterways open. The dredge reports are doing pretty good. We're getting the cha-ching, we're getting the money to allow to have that open, to have that happen. But here we are, high water, and sometimes this could be a twice-a-year event, the spring and the fall.
Right.
We're just at a point where it's happening again, and we just have to be vigilant and diligent.
Danica, and thank goodness our delegation works with us, the Corps works with us. We know with this water, it's going to bring a lot of sediment. We expect that when we have high water. We know it's coming. The problem was we had a problem about 6 months ago when Hurricane Francine came in and wiped our channel out. We had 23 foot in the bar channel on a Tuesday. Francine comes in on a Wednesday. It dumps about 8 million yards of sediment. Because I was over here, you brought me in. I showed you all the maps, like you say, you never can get complacent because we face those challenges all the time. We spent over $20 million getting the channel back open. Channel's in great shape today. Well, what's the problem? All this is bringing lots of sediment to us. We're going to have high water for the next 2 weeks, and it's going to start slowly falling. Well, that's where we're getting the damage. You don't see it. Well, the river's going down. That's great. But as it falls, the sediment really starts falling out. So it's a constant battle.
So you gotta, I'm gonna tell you, I don't like all doom and gloom, even though we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly on this show. But at least one thing, we're not dealing with a lot of rain.
That's right.
I think that would definitely put us it would be a bigger difference. But the rain is north of us, which is of course coming down. But but if we had that on top of rain here, so right now we're kind of dealing with no rain, maybe a possible drought, but we got to count our blessings.
Danica, that's a very good point, because let me tell you, I was on a call about a month ago, and since then been on a call every day, 2 or 3 times a day with different agencies. But a month ago, the forecast from NOAA, the National Weather Service, from the Corps, was the outlook for the spring was going to be normal to maybe slightly above, basically nothing. We were going to have it easy. Look what's happened. They've had several places up there have had 14, 15, 16 inches of rain fall over the weekend. And you mentioned, well, Mac, we haven't had that here. That's a blessing. We don't need that now. With Bayou Chene being closed, you got Lake Verret, the east side of the basin, because the Chafalaya Basin split in two. You got an east and a west. The west flows down the Chafalaya River. The east side of the basin flows through Lake Verret, through Lake Palourde, through Bayou Buff. If we get a rainfall now in the east side, if it rains in Morgan City, that's going down the river. If it falls on the other side, that has to go through the Bayou Buff, through Lake Palourde. Well, we blocked that off. we blocked it off to keep the water coming down the river so it
So
doesn't
you
wrap
stop in the
around.
backwater, but
We're
then
stopping
you
the
also,
backwater, but we
there's
trap it.
backwater. That's right.
If it rains heavy, if we get some bad rains, then, you know, I can't say you can't have, but
Right now, we're in pretty good shape.
we're in
Right now,
pretty
as far
good
as that.
shape,
Now, I
yes.
do have a question, and again, I don't want it to be all doom and gloom, but I'm just trying to put
Yeah.
out there everything. I believe this spring we've had some pretty unprecedented winds.
Yeah.
Wind is also a part of that. Very quickly, tell me what does the wind play in this?
Danica, a week ago today, we were at, the river fell back down to 4 foot. On the Sunday before that Monday, we had wind blowing for 7 straight days, 30 miles an hour, 24 hours a day. The river jumped up to 5.5 and fell back down to 4 with the north wind. So we got a lot of this water out.
Yes, that's good. Okay, so again, we're just playing here. We're just trying to see what the numbers look like with and Mother Nature. So we're playing a game of cat and mouse in a way. So come on back. We've got much more to cover with Mac Wade, Executive Director with the Morgan City Port. Welcome back. Let's get right back into it. Again, my guest is Mac Wade, Executive Director with the Port of Morgan City. And you know what? I'm talking to you. Yes, port is about water, but I'm sure you guys split a lot of this, the delegation or duties rather, with levy, because you guys gotta work it hand in hand, all right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And the Corps works with the port, with the port, but they also work with the levees because a lot of we have federal levees, and they're very much involved. The drainage district, the Corps works with all of us on that and everything, reports and everything. Like I said, we don't have any jurisdiction over the drainage or the locks or the floodgates or anything like that. That's those 2 agencies, but they work in combination with the state because the state's involved, and the federal government and everything.
Okay. How is this going to affect the dredging? I mean, I think we had like 3, 4 dredging companies or equipment that's been out there. The ABC, the
Right.
Bar Channel. I mean, they were everywhere. So with this water that has come up, I'm sure that's affected.
It hasn't affected yet, but we know what's coming. Like I mentioned earlier, 6 months ago, we had a disaster with the hurricane. Now we got that open. We have 3 dredges currently operating in the district. One will stay out in the Bar Channel. That's the Arilac. It will continue out there. But we have 2 working Bayou Chene. And in fact, the determination has been made. We've moved it above the flood structure. It's going to be dredging Chene, Bayou Black, Bayou Buff. But we moved it above because the floodgate's closing, and they can work on both sides, and it would be easier to get to the dredge being on the north side of the floodgate instead of going 15-mile, 20-mile detour around to get to it. So we've been having to jockey those things around. So we got 3 dredges working, but we know where we're going to have a real problem is going to be in Stouts Pass. Stouts Pass is about 3 miles north of Morgan City. That's on the Chaffalaya River. It was already getting pretty gnarly in there, shallow-like. That is the MR&T, the Mississippi River Tributaries contract that we have with the federal government. We received 0 funding in the president's budget. I got plenty of money for down below. They gave us $0.
Are you able to shift that money?
No. We got 2 contracts with the federal government. We got O&M that works everything from the train bridges down to the sea buoy. And we got MR&T. There was a bill about 3 weeks ago that came out. It was the work plan or supplemental. There's 2 bills. Might have been supplemental. We asked for the same request. We got nothing again. Now, we're not dead in the water yet. There's 1 more round of funding coming, so we're asking for that same amount from the federal government for Stouts Pass. And if we don't, well, the towing industry is going to be very upset because of all the restrictions that are being placed today. The Coast Guard's started restrictions last week, and they've added a lot more restrictions.
Now, I got to ask you something. I know this is not your purview. I mean, you're mostly East St. Mary, but I do want to ask you if there's anything you can maybe tell the folks who maybe watch, especially those individuals who live in the Centerville area. Bayou Teche. Of course, we're talking about this water coming down. Water comes down through the Atchafalaya, but also some of that's diverted through Calumet. Calumet
Right.
goes to Bayou Teche. Right now, the water's low, but will they start to close any of those gates?
Danica, I can't speak for those districts, but I'll tell you, I know that they're very aware of the situation. Everybody is in this business. I'm sure they will be closing those floodgates, and they will probably do it. You just can't go close the floodgate because you might have business on the other side. You know, you didn't tell me. We've been warning all the customers on the east side for weeks, for about 2 weeks. Cindy's been putting out notices to our stakeholders about Bayou Shane. We knew it was going down. So on the west side, Jimmy Broussard with the parish, he will be monitoring that situation and getting with the levee district what floodgates have to be closed, if the locks have to be closed or whatever on that end.
All right, thank you very much. We've got one more segment to go, and we can talk a little bit about the port expansion. We want to get back on that because we've been monitoring that for a while. Come on back, we've got much more to cover. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast, our last segment. Let's talk about the port expansion. We've had the east side and the west side. East side, done, right? We are
Right.
all done. It's, up high and, all this concrete being poured into it, this $1 million project, that's done. West expansion, and that's what I'm really excited about because that's starting from ground zero. Like,
Yes.
you were just building upon what you had already there on the east side expansion, but the west, where are we with that project?
Danica, good question, and we've been talking about it for several years, but these projects take a long time. We are in the final stages of getting our permit from the Corps. We have 2 pieces of property that we purchased next to the port. We have 800 foot of waterfront, and we're going to add 1,100 foot of waterfront on to the R8 to give us 1,900 foot along the Atchafalaya River right there. We'll have laydown area. That we'll have. It's on these 2 parcels of land, but it takes a long time to get a permit, a very, very long time. We are in the public comment portion of it. That has to go out for so many days, and if there's no comments.
Have you received any comments, from
None,
any landowners or stakeholders?
Knock on wood, we don't think shouldn't be any comments. You never know. But we should have the permit, we think, within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, that comes from the Corps. Corps has a very busy job running everything, but now their focus is maybe not on my permit as much. They got to worry about the high water. Because just New Orleans, the Mississippi River is going to 17 and a half foot. At 18 foot on the Carrollton gauge, that means the Bonacary spillway has to be open. And if that doesn't give them enough relief, the Morganza up above us, which would really kill us or hurt us bad. So the Corps' focus, I thought they were looking at mine every minute, watching the water boil. No, they kind of taken their eye off. But we should have that permit in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And if everything goes according to plan, we could be out for bid in June. I guess it takes 45 days on that, and we could possibly be under construction maybe by September, October. We could start construction on that project.
As much as I was trying to steer this conversation away from the high water, the high water affects everything.
Oh, it's still got us.
We're still talking about the high water after we're talking about the port expansion, but it affects everything.
It does.
That's why it is important that I'm glad you're here. Because I was getting to the point, I was like, man, what's going to happen? I mean, we're back in this whole springtime high water phase, and this happens twice a year often. Like I said, it could happen during the springtime. I think maybe the last time, maybe 5 years ago, we were experiencing this.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Then, of course, the most precedented one was in 2011, the latest one that is. And so here we are again. I just hope in the fall time we're not going to see this again. I know it's kind of hard to.
A month ago we weren't going to have this. Right. So, but like you say, the Corps managing they're looking at everything. They got a big plate. They got a lot on the plate going on and everything. But they have. We'll get through this like we have everything else. I do
Like that attitude.
Well, we have no choice. You know, we'll get through this. Just everybody say their prayers that we don't get a lot of more rain up above.
So just so I know, and overall, just for if you're just joining us, we don't really necessarily have to worry about people or property per se being affected. This is mostly, this would affect, I mean, look, everything is joined here. It's all cyclical, but homes are definitely more protected.
More protected, better levees,
than
right.
they've ever been. So,
And and the floodgate helps that. Now, Danica, like I said, if we get some massive rains, like we've had in the past right here in this area, we could have problems, but not right now.
all right. Thank you so much, Mac. Thank you. We'll see you guys next time.